Hoy there, it's Skyward Shield. We are officially in the next season, technically. It is the 2016-2017 season, but I'm joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey!
Alright, so, getting into it, we are now talking free agency. Normally we would have had to have it lumped in with the pre-draft video, which would have been a two-part thing with this with this time of the year, but free agency for a couple of these teams was so big, I don't think we could have kept it done in like 30 minutes and had the other 30 minutes dedicated to the draft. So,
Right.
we're splitting that up. I'm thinking the draft video will be like 30 minutes because there's not much to talk about aside from who could this team we like get in the draft. Anyway, so we're gonna talk with the team that arguably made the biggest splash, though I think there was a couple teams or one team in particular who went unnoticed, but they're for last because we're not let's just make this clear. I don't think we're talking Dallas, though I won't note one thing. They got some players that I'm glad they kept. They kept Lance Dunbar because I think he's good for the Dallas scheme. They kept him for 1 year, so it's fine. You're not making a big risk. That's fair. He was actually going to go to the 49ers for a longer deal, but, I guess Dallas players sometimes want to go stay in Dallas because it's Dallas, but, then you have other players who don't do that. Anyway, and they might sign Alfred Morris. He's visiting today, and I would actually like that because that solves the running back issue. Then you don't have to draft one. You could go focus on a cornerback, right?
Right.
I've been saying draft defense for like the next 2 years. 2 to 3. Because you need help on defense so bad. They need defensive ends or a defensive tackle. They need a cornerback especially because, Jesus Christ, the cornerbacks for that one I think were the worst in the whole league. You need safeties. Linebackers, you have Sean Lee and Rolando McClain who they re-signed too, so that's good. But they need so much help on defense. It's not even funny. They are the new Colts basically. When Peyton was in charge. The Colts then all offense, but defense, if you tired that defense out, that other team was going to score 50 points on them. Hands down.
Right.
But anyway.
Exactly. I mean,
what?
It was really that defense. Both defenses show very similar characteristics.
Yes. So, let's talk right away with the team that made the biggest splash. Houston. First, let's address who left before we get to who came and who re-signed. Who left? The biggest one, Arian Foster. Who's surprised? You and I both agreed it was going to happen, right?
Yes.
They don't want to take any chances with his injury, and I don't think he was willing to take a pay cut. But even if he was willing to, I think they just didn't want to take the chance. I hate it. I really don't like it, but remember, that's because, as a fan, we love Foster. Aside from Andre Johnson and before J.J. Watt came in and stormed the place, it was those two that were the most. It was those two who were the franchise faces.
Right.
So it's a shame to see him go. I'd like him to go to Dallas, but I don't think any team's gonna re-sign him until they know he's completely healthy.
Right.
Like you might not see him sign until before the before summer training camps, and preseason where they start trimming the number from 90 to 55.
Yeah, I really believe that Arian Foster will get a job, but it'll be in a backup capacity or a mentor role.
I hope he realizes that's for the best because the less he does, the more his plays should feel better for him in a way. I'm really hoping he goes to Dallas, but if Alfred Morris signs, I say that's not happening anymore. If he doesn't sign, then he might. But people are throwing him to Denver because he's Gary Kubiak's there, and Kubiak made him into what he was, and they could use someone to go after C.J. Anderson. That might work, but I just don't want to see it because I don't like the Broncos. Even though I love Wade Phillips at Kubiak, I wish they didn't go. I would have loved for them to stay. Nothing against Bill O'Brien, of course, and I'm glad they won their rings. They've earned them. They deserved them a long time ago. But
Yes.
But I just don't like the Broncos because I crowned them the worst fan base, and I think they're going to show it even more when they don't make the playoffs. But, we'll talk the Broncos towards the end of the podcast because this ain't the last time we're going to talk about them. Oh, no. So, other
Right.
players. Ryan Griffin, the tight end, was cut. Only had like one touchdown pass from Ryan Mallett in the Panthers game. I remember that one. He's gone. That's fine, though. I think they cut the wrong tight end. The tight end I don't like is C.J. Fedorowicz. I think he's terrible. He is not good at all. But I don't know. But okay, fine, whatever. Cut who you want as long as you don't cut. No, it's not Ryan Griffin. I'm thinking of No, I'm mixing it up. They kept Ryan Griffin. I'm sorry. He's staying. He's the good one. I mixed him up with Garrett Graham. He's gone. He's the one that's gone. So
Right.
yeah, they target again. Same thing. They targeted the wrong tight end to cut. It should have been CJ, but okay, whatever. Ryan Griffin, when he's healthy, he's a good tight end. But
Right.
but there's still an issue at tight end, in my opinion. Um,
Right.
we cut Raheem Moore, but I still don't even know why they cut him. He did something bad, and he just cut him. But okay, whatever. Then we lost two linemen. One I didn't care about, and one that aggravated me. Brandon Brooks gone to the Eagles. I could have sworn I heard he was going to the Bears, but whatever. The Eagles, they're being stupid right now. Everyone's like, oh, they're geniuses, they're innovators, but that's because they're Philadelphia Eagles. If the Cleveland Browns or the Buccaneers did something like some move like this, they'll be like, oh, what idiots, how stupid are they? Because Philadelphia, it's Philadelphia. Unless you're 76ers, then nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about the 76ers. Anyway, so he went over there, I think for a 3-year deal. Ben Jones went to the Titans for a 5-year deal. I really didn't want him to go because he was a really good center, in my opinion. But whatever, he's going to fade into obscurity with the Titans. I mean, sure, he's got DeMarco Murray behind him, but I just don't think, with how the Titans run the ball, I don't think DeMarco Murray is going to do that well, unless they change to fit his style, which I don't think so based on how the coach said it. With that, I don't even want to remember that term he threw out there. It sounded so stupid, but I just don't see him or any of the Titans players they signed on are going to do that well. But that's because I don't think the Titans are a good team. But at least they're better. They're going to have a better record than the Browns. I think we can all agree on that.
Right. Yeah.
So that's who they That's who they cut. What do you think, Bill? How do you think about them cutting or some of their linemen? Do you think it brought them down?
I really don't understand why they were cutting linemen. I mean,
Well, no, okay, let me
unless
rephrase that.
they.
Let me rephrase that. They didn't cut them. They went for other deals that would have given them more money.
Right. Right.
Because everyone was saying, oh,
I
you
mean,
cut Foster, like, legendary, Houston legendary reporter John McClain was like predicting Raheem Moore, Foster, and Graham were cut the guys who are gonna hold your team back and re-sign Brandon Brooks or Ben Jones, but for sure get Ben Jones. Okay, they gotta get him. He's a center. He's crucial. But they both
right.
left. They had better deals from the Titans and the Eagles.
I mean, that's part of the the market of the NFL, and it might be that both players were just not happy in the system that Bill O'Brien was running. That you know, it's easy to look at it from the outside. Even if they took a different deal,
You know what's crazy though?
it's
These guys weren't even starters before O'Brien came in. He made them starters, so I don't see why they would do it. But okay, whatever, I guess.
I
But I'm
mean, you
okay
get more money.
I'm okay with Brooks being gone because I thought he was a bust. I thought he wasn't that good. Because I remember one play in particular where I think it was against the Bills. It was who they lost to, and I want to say it was Buffalo. I don't know who plowed through him, but he just got pushed on his ass so easily. I was like, oh god, you're terrible, Brandon Brooks. Why are you being this terrible? No, wait. It might have been the Chiefs game, actually, in the playoffs, where the line was just not doing that well. Granted, Dwayne Brown wasn't there, because he was crucial, in my opinion, but they still couldn't do shit, and he was terrible. So I'm okay that he's gone, but I really wanted Ben Jones to stay.
Right.
Anyway, let's go to the signings. I'll talk the smaller ones, and we'll get to the bigger ones later. They got, They just signed a safety, Antonio Allen, which is fine because you cut Raheem Moore. You need someone to replace him. I still think they're going to probably get a safety in the draft. They signed a guard, Jeff Allen. He's supposedly Pro Bowl worthy. I forgot where he
Huh.
came from. And then they got the center from Oakland, Tony Bergstrom. So that's good. You addressed the line. You replaced who was gone. So now you have an experienced center. You don't have to throw out this like a rookie or something. And then,
Right.
so you address the line need and the safety need, and then they addressed everything else. The other issues, you thought, okay, they're gonna address this in the draft, most likely. No,
Right. Right.
they're gone now. So anyone who hoped Ezekiel Elliott or what's that other guy? The one other running back was Derrick Henry.
I don't.
Is he?
Something like that. It's Derrick Henry or whatever.
The Alabama running back.
Yeah, the Alabama guy. His last name is Henry.
I think it is Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, oh, he might go to Houston, might trade up to get him. Not anymore. I don't think they will now. They're not getting a running back. They got Lamar Miller from the Dolphins, the Dolphins, I really want to throw under the losers list already, but they're just so stupid. I can't. I feel like I'm like beating a dead horse.
Or a dead fish.
Yeah. So they poorly utilized him. They didn't utilize him that much. Like when they used him against Houston, he tore them up. You know that game,
Yep.
that infamous 40 to 14 game. I don't know what the score was for Houston, but it didn't matter. It was horrible. But I
Right.
really like him, but I think they don't use him that much. But Houston is a run first team. They always run at the beginning of the game.
Right.
And when he runs more, he's going to do better. He does. And I think he's a good pass catcher. I don't know about that though. If he is good for
Yep.
him, but then there was the other signing. At first, when reports came out of this, it's like, oh, Brock Osweiler is just using this to make Denver pay him more. Maybe that's what it was happening, but they didn't match, and he went to Houston instead. That surprised me. I didn't think he got like, oh, this is just something. This is just a bargaining chip. But it happened. That surprised me. Like I woke up at night and somebody told me like, "Hey, are you happy with your new quarterbacks?" Like, what? What about? We don't have one yet. It's like, yeah, you do. You got Osweiler. You should be like, what? You got Brock Osweiler. How? I thought that wasn't gonna work. Like on a percentage scale and how likely I thought this was gonna happen, it felt like a 5% chance this would happen, and it did. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like imagine playing Fire Emblem, but the only way your attack would hit is if it like say that 3% chance crit activated. That's the only way you'll hurt them. And it happens.
Right. Yeah.
It was all or nothing,
Exactly.
and it happened. So okay,
Yep.
I'll say this though. I am not aboard the Brock Osweiler hype train. After seeing failure after failure quarterback, I am not going to immediately say this guy's going to save the team. Granted, the only thing I can praise him for is that he was the reason why Denver even clinched the first seed in the first place. He beat the Patriots. He beat the Bengals. He could have beat the Steelers, but he only lost 2 games, if I recall, to Oakland, because that's when Khalil Mack woke up and ate him. He pretty much ate Brock Osweiler alive. That was fun.
Right.
But yeah. So this is he. I'm not saying he's a failure. He's destined to be a failure. I hope not. But I'm just not gonna be aboard that thing until I see it. I see him on the field for myself.
Right. Right.
What did you think of Lamar Miller and the Brock Osweiler signing, Bill?
I thought that they were pretty big signings. I'm like you. I'm not a huge fan of crowning anyone. Osweiler didn't really show me nothing while he was in Denver. It took a quarterback that was basically playing on one leg to win the Super Bowl for them, not him. And I mean,
Actually,
with that defense.
speaking of that, Bill, I forgot to ask this before we recorded, but we can do this later or in the next podcast. You have to suggest Peyton Manning for the Football Talks Hall of Fame. He's your boy.
Yeah, we should probably do that for the next one.
All right, we'll start off with that next week. So yeah, next week or next time we record, we're gonna induct Peyton Manning into the Hall of Fame. He's the third guy.
Right.
Anyway, continue on. I just wanted to bring that up because I forgot about it.
I lost my track of thought.
Oh,
So
you were saying he's not qualified yet. I was going to say
I'm not.
what?
I'm not on the hype train either. It's he's got to prove it by making it to the playoffs because he has a good defense. Let's see what he does.
Honestly, I think this offense, at least on paper, is better than what he had before. Granted, Demaryius Thomas, people say he's great, and I would like to agree, but last season, it's like he either it was unintentional because they didn't throw to him that much, or he was just playing like after you got the big contract. He was playing like the Dominican Sue was last year.
Right.
Not like just moving around because that's what he has to do. Because he got paid big money. He got paid a lot of money. And honestly, it's
Right.
contracts like his and Von Miller who are the reason why Brock Osweiler left in the first place.
Right. Yes.
So I don't see why I don't see why John Elway is a good GM. I know that, but why did he not use the franchise tag on Brock Osweiler and then give that big contract to Von Miller?
And they didn't want to lose Von Miller. Von Miller was way too important for them.
Yep,
If
and
they lost Von Miller, there goes that defense.
there is. Honestly, I say there goes that defense already. This defense, it's still going to be good, but I'll be honest, I don't expect that thing to crack the top 5. I don't think it will because players have left. Like I said many times before, even the Super Bowl, that defense was built for one Super Bowl run, and it had it. And that's why they left, because they got their rings. Bye. Thank you. That's all that they did. But
Right.
that's fine. That's fine for them. They got their damn trophy, so they should be happy. And I say sit out a couple of years before they think about another one, because they don't have a quarterback now. They're, spoiler alert, they're both our biggest losers. They're everyone's biggest losers, because who'd you lose? You lost Malik Jackson. You lost Brock Osweiler. They cut Owen Daniels, which bothers me, and I'm really hoping that Houston re-signs Owen Daniels because he's probably the best tight end we've ever had, and I'd like for him to come back, but who knows?
Doubt it.
I doubt it too. I don't even know why they cut him. I mean, didn't you see the touchdowns he got from Peyton Manning? It's like, did you have anything to do with Peyton Manning? Yeah, but are you one of our top players in our entire team? Like, no. Okay, you're gone. It's like, wow, okay. Sometimes Denver shot themselves in their foot. Like that. I thought
Right.
they cut some players who could have been good on their team, and considering they're now helpless on offense, they needed anyone they could keep. But okay. And they
Right.
nearly lost C.J. Anderson. They had to pay him more money because he was going to Elway wanted to save $800,000. But then Miami sent out a thing that's saying we're going to pay him this much. And Denver had to match.
Right.
Elway was trying to be a little smart, but teams know what you're offering. We won't know, but they do because they see. Think of like when you waive a player, everyone knows that they're available and that someone picks them if they want.
Right.
It's like that. But they saw us like, hey, we need a running back. We cut Lamar Miller. Let's get him because clearly the Broncos don't want him. So
right.
Elway's good, but he's just making some bad choices this year. This is not his year. It's not his year right now. But again, you
Right.
want a Super Bowl, fine, get weaker because let another team get a shot at it instead.
Yep.
Though I'm a little hypocritical in saying that, but yeah. Anyway, I like these signings. I'm a little skeptical about Brock Osweiler, but I think we both can agree it's a lot better than Hoyer starting. Or I'll be honest, I don't even want a rookie to start. I would have rather Tom Savage start just to see what he could do. Because you don't know what he's going to do, fine. But I didn't want to see Christian Hackenberg, Paxton Lynch, Dak Prescott, who I think is going to be a sneaky good quarterback if someone drafts him. And, lets him refine. Because all these quarterbacks, as soon as you draft them, bench them for the whole year to get them adjusted to your system and get better. Because they are not ready. None of them. Even unless you had one of them playing in like Dallas's offense, who has got a great offensive line, good wide receivers, and a nice running back scheme. That offense is already built. It just needs a quarterback to lead. Then don't even start them. But
Right, right.
anyway, let's move on to a team who has had a big loss, but their gains, I don't think they've fixed everything, but they'll do. Bill, your team is up next. So who
Oh
did they
man.
lose? You got to start with the
Well,
big one.
well, we lost, of course, to retirement Calvin Johnson. The biggest fish of all of ours that we lost. There was a lot of other piddly players that we lost, but Calvin Johnson was the big one. Obviously, it was rumored. It took until March when he was rumored to be contemplating it in January. I'm glad he took his time and got it all sorted and got everything done. But another player that they cut was a Michigan guy. He played college football here in the Detroit area, Joik Bell, and they cut him. Uh, Obviously, we have excess of running backs. There was really no room for him, and he was, to be fair, probably the least talented of the four that we had.
Honestly, he's only good for punching through the line for a touchdown at the goal line.
And then the other big loss is at safety. We lost Abdul Qaddus. Uh,
I think one of your other
Not
players retired on safety. Ahedebo, I think.
Rasheen Mathis
Yeah,
retired at corner.
yeah. He said
He
if
he
I
retired.
can't come back to Detroit, I'm retiring, and that's what happened.
Yeah, that's Rasheen Mathis. Rasheen Mathis retired. He played at corner, and he was a decent corner. He did pretty good. I mean, he didn't have the most stellar career in Detroit, but he was a serviceable player, and he played on a good defense after getting off of Jacksonville, where he played for a very long time.
Huh?
At least he got to go to the playoffs. Uh,
Playoffs.
Playoffs.
So, two
But
two things. I'm sorry to cut you off, Phil. Um, One, I'm gonna get annoyed when I hear people debate is Calvin Johnson a wide receiver? Or not a wide receiver. Is Calvin Johnson a Hall of Fame wide receiver? Yes. Yes, he is. You can. There are some people who shouldn't even be in there who made it anyway. So I don't see why not. So I just want to get that out of the way because no doubt we're not gonna hear the end of that bill. People questioning if Megatron should be a Hall of Fame candidate. Absolutely, though. This year's like when it comes for this year's retirees to get in, I could
7
guarantee.
years from now.
I can guarantee you. There's going to be one of them who's not going to make it because there's just so many good people. You have Peyton, you have Megatron, you have who else? You have Charles Woodson. You have so many to consider. And like, stop. It's going to be annoying
Yep,
for them. I would feel bad for the people who got to decide. Anyway,
exactly.
so there's that, and I have a prediction. I think he'll come out of retirement if and only if the Lions show signs of improvement and actually make the playoffs.
I I don't.
You don't think so?
I think I think he's done. And for a player like him to say that he's not, performing to his expectations are sky high. And if his body is breaking down, and some players just don't like getting hurt. I mean, it's
The Green Bay
it's a
Packer did that
brutal
yesterday, actually.
it's a
What?
it's a brutal game, and a lot of people just, some people can fight through injury after injury after injury after injury because they love the game. And then there's other players that, are not going to fight through 40 different leg injuries and then suffer for the rest of their lives. And I think Calvin's one of them.
Yeah. Um,
But
He's not the only one who did that. It was another 30-year-old player for the Green Bay Packers. One year he got like 14 sacks, and after that he was never the same because he kept fighting injuries. And now he's like, I'm taking a hiatus from the NFL because
right,
he wants to get better,
right.
which is
So
fine because loss of a Green Bay player, fine by me.
right.
But anyway, so is that all that has been cut, or are there others?
Yeah, a bunch of miscellaneous, useless.
All right, then go for the signs. Like who stayed,
The
who got signed
the
in.
Okay, so we'll start with the defensive side of the football. The Detroit Lions re-signed Haloti Nada, which is a good sign. He's still very athletic. He's still a force in the middle. They signed Tyron Walker, another good sign. It solidifies the defensive tackle position. It was the space left by Ndamukong Suh, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's
Uh,
be real. That's been completely filled by Ziggy Ansah.
yeah, and Tyron and Haloti. I mean, it's a team effort. So at linebacker, the Lions re-signed Tahir Whitehead, which is another good sign. I like when the Lions re-sign young players. And then we signed two safeties, Raphael Bush and Tavon Wilson, away from the New England Patriots. And that is a Bob Quinn's obvious signing right there, because he was very excited to come over here to Detroit.
It's too cold in
Now,
Detroit.
oh God, oh man, see, Ndamukong Suh, he can stay in Florida and never win another
You know what's
Super Bowl.
crazy? You want to know what's the weird thing? A lot of players say they would like to retire in Miami because of the weather.
Right. I mean,
I would.
it's a place. I mean, literally, Ndamukong Suh went to a place where all the old people go to. I mean,
Minus
seriously.
spring
I
break,
mean,
which is happening right now.
exactly.
You see,
But
while everyone's partying out on the beach, getting drunk, we're here recording a podcast. Okay. So who else got signed on the? Well, is
All
there
right.
anyone else on
So
defense, or are we going
there
offense?
was there's two more signings, and that was on the offensive side of the ball. And the first one was a re-signing of a tight end by the name of Tim Wright. Again, Bob Quinn knew of him, obviously liked his work ethic, etc., and he's a good tight end, a good player. And then the biggest signing, the replacement of Calvin Johnson,
Ooh, this one hurts the other
Marvin
team.
Jones.
This one hurts the
Mar-
Bengals.
Marvin Jones, a breakout candidate waiting to happen. Now we have three sure-handed wide receivers on the same team. Not big guys, not Kelvin Big, but sure-handed, can catch and get the yak yards. The Marvin Jones signing is the biggest signing of the offseason so far for the Lions. Obviously, they made a splash with that,
They
but I
almost
mean,
got
literally,
they almost got another player actually, but he went to Denver. You know who I'm talking about, right?
no.
Uh, Left tackle, which Detroit could use. They could use a good left tackle. Or um, but Russell Okung, he was actually going to go to Detroit, but Denver offered him a better contract. They can offer other players a good contract, no problem, but not to Brock Osweiler. Says a lot about the Broncos when you think about it. But okay, no, jokes aside, I was hoping he'd go there too because that at least solves another issue for the Lions. Which, Bill, care to tell me what
Obvious,
the Lions' issues are that need to be addressed now in the draft if they can't do it in free
ob-
agency?
obviously, the offensive line is an issue.
Not the biggest, if
They
you ask me.
they need offensive line help. They need depth at the offensive line. They need a center. They need a center.
Yeah, they might do it
I mean,
They might do it in the draft, hopefully.
but the biggest need is at corner. They need corners. Lots and lots and lots of corners. Corners, corners, corners. And then my other one that I would like them to draft is some more linebacking depth. Obviously, build the defense into what it should be, dominant defense, and sort of build it in the framework of the Seattle Seahawks from a few years ago.
I forgot to mention what Houston's issues were at that need to be addressed in the draft. I'll address it
I think,
after we talk to the Lions, because there's one I think should be addressed in the late rounds. Like, if there's still like a Jalen Strong player out there, one that that can be portrayed as a first round, and you see him in the third round, like a wide receiver, get him, get him, build it up,
right.
build him up. You get that wide receiver depth. Like, address this in the third or fourth round if it's possible. Um, Other things, I'd like to see safeties, maybe, but it's mostly on defense and offensive line that I see. Running backs, they're fine. You have Amir Abdullah who's waiting to break out. Remember, everyone's jumping in on the Melvin Gordon hype train, but it was Amir Abdullah that took it.
Right.
But in the end, it was still what's his name? Todd Gurley who took everything. He literally ran away with the offensive MVP of the year.
To be fair, as was expected.
Oh yeah. Oh, they weren't everyone expecting it. They were thinking it was not going to be him because he's coming off that injury. Like, oh, he's going to play like half the season, so of course he's not going to do anything. If he played the full season, he would have beat Adrian Peterson by hundreds of yards. So it's like, AP,
Oh, yeah.
enjoy your time in the front lines as the best running back. You're about to lose it. I'm calling it this year, actually. And I think Todd Gurley, at one point, if his team gets good enough, and I guarantee you, he's going to break the rushing yard record. I think he will. I think he'll do it, but I mean, that's LA Rams, and we're not talking about them. Well, one of their players are when they come to the Patriots, so what else do you got to say about the Lions, Bill? How do you feel with how they did with the free agency? They did quietly, kind of like the Patriots did. You know, Megatron announcing his retirement in the middle of all the Brock Osweiler's in Houston, guys.
Yep.
So,
I
what?
I think I'm pretty good with what the Lions did, and
All right,
we can move on.
all right. So before we go to the next team, New England, the Throne of Ease, I'll mention Houston's draft needs that they need to take care of. They got a safety in Antonio Allen, though I don't know how he is. All I know is that I think at one point he got a pick six off of Tom Brady. Okay, that's good for you. I still say I'm not sure what they could get. They honestly could go best player available at the end of the first round and go with that. They could trade down, like say Denver wants to get a quarterback. It's like, okay, you could get it. You remember when Detroit traded with Denver, and Denver got what was his name? Shane Ray? Was that who they got in the first round? I don't know. They got a defensive player who had some controversy to him. So they might trade with a team to get more picks. I could actually see them do that because they do that a lot. They've done it a couple times this year. And then with those picks, they trade up and get another player. That's what they do, I've noticed. So they might even trade Brian Hoyer to the Jets, who might need a quarterback because Fitzpatrick wants that money. It's the Sam Bradford curse, Bill. Ever since Sam Bradford got money he didn't deserve, every quarterback's like, hey, you got to pay me like that now.
Right.
So if you got to blame anyone, blame Sam Bradford. I don't know how he makes so much money. Everyone's still fixated on his college days. It's like, guys, he's not the same. But anyway, back on subject. The things I say that are biggest concerns: guard. What else? Safety. Safety's a big one, I think. But I really don't want them to address defense. I really don't want them to. I'm getting tired of that. So get a lineman. Get a safety. If you have to get a safety, and a tight end. But tight ends, first round tight ends, are really hard to come by.
Right.
Even safeties too. Every now and again you'll get like 3, but usually you'll have 1. So I don't even know if he'll be there, but at the end. So they could go best player available, and I won't be surprised. Just for God's sakes, don't draft another defensive end. I'm getting tired of those. So, we'll see what they go for, but I'd like for them. There is one wide receiver I wouldn't mind if they get, because people are going to sleep on him because of his injury. I told you about he's from Baylor, and I told Bill before we recorded about why, because that Baylor was a great team last year in terms of college football. I remember they were always on TV because all they did was freaking win. But they had like the Patriots curse last season with they kept getting injured. They lost like two of their quarterbacks and they kept losing players, but they still kept winning. But when they started playing against the best teams that were also healthy, then they got wiped out. So,
Right.
and this guy was part of the cause. He's very fast. Even though he got injured, he shredded the 40-yard dash.
Right.
So, if he's still there, I would love if they take him. You can compliment Hopkins. Because after this season, I can assure you, Nate Washington's either going to get cut or retire. So there's going to be a space open. So fill it now while you can, and then when he's gone, have Coleman be your number 2 or 3, depending on how Jalen Strong does. Because
Right.
if you have that great wide receiver core, and Brock Osweiler doesn't, turn into Brian Hoyer, but, we'll see, then you have a really good offense to complement that defense. And how would you not be seen as a Super Bowl favorite? Because
Right.
by the time all that glues together, no doubt Tom Brady will be gone, so who's the biggest threat on the AFC? Just the Raiders and then the Steelers? But the Steelers can't get all their players in the year because they keep getting suspended. But because Martavis Bryant got suspended for a year smoking weed. I don't get that. It's like, stop with the weed, guys. It's not even that bad. It's like, I don't see you guys suspending them for smoking tobacco. But that's just how I stand on the issues of weed. I don't mind it.
Right.
I don't smoke it. Let's clear that up. I don't smoke it, but if it were legal, I'd give it a try. But I doubt I doubt I will. It's not happening in Texas anytime soon. Okay, so yeah, biggest issues: guard, safety, and maybe a wide receiver. But mostly it's those two positions, I think. Maybe inside linebacker again, just so that way you have somebody to replace Cushing, because Cushing's gonna go. I expect him to go. He's not doing good as a player. He's just,
Right.
he's just good for the locker room, that's all. And he's kind of a
Yep.
dick. That's why I don't like him, but that's his character. Anyway, let's go on to New England. This team is already building for another Super Bowl trip. Who did they cut? Brandon LaFell, who surprised there, and they cut. Who did they cut the tight end, or was it a running back?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
They cut Scott Chandler, the tight end.
Yeah, they cut Chandler, and then they cut. There's a running back with the last name White? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Yeah, James White.
Yeah, they cut him.
Okay.
So he's gone. They're gone. I'm not surprised Brandon LaFell got cut because he kept dropping balls, but they did re-sign a player, and I'd like to mention him because he was from Houston, and I thought he did good.
Right.
He was good for them because he could catch the ball. He could also he caught a deep ball from Brady. I think it was in the Broncos game that pretty much kept them in the game. And he's good. He's good for yards after the catch. And he's fast. Keyshawn Martin, he's signed for I think 2 years or something. I don't know. Either way, I'm glad he's still there because he's a player I think that deserved a ring. He's good for the sake of depth. He's not a great starter per se, but he's good to put in the middle of the game when you've got to rest your other players. Here's how New England made their splash, because New England likes to make a splash in their own way. I was like, oh, we signed this big free agent player? Nah, they traded. Who did they trade, Bill?
Chandler Jones.
With who? Which team did they trade with?
I don't remember.
The Arizona
that.
Cardinals for
Oh yeah, Arizona.
for a lineman, Jonathan Cooper, and a second-round pick. Now, Chandler Jones was good, but I don't think they were going to re-sign him. I think they knew he's good, but I don't think they wanted to re-sign him for reasons I don't know. But what am I saying? It's the Patriots. They sign and cut whoever they want, and nobody gets mad at them for it.
Yep.
Minus Brady and Gronkowski, but
I mean,
what?
If they cut those two, I think there would be an open revolt in Boston.
Oh yeah, Foxborough would be burned to the ground. Mm. Anyway,
Oh man.
anyway, why this is good? You get linemen because that's what killed you against Denver. You need to have linemen, so that's good. And you got a second round pick that was a little bit ahead of where you would be, so you can probably use that as a bargaining chip to trade up at like a couple spots and get another player if you see one. Or in a way, it kind of makes up for losing the first round pick because of Deflategate, which is still bullshit. And fuck Roger Goodell. I just have to get my shot in because I hate Roger Goodell, Bill. I think we all do.
Oh yeah.
He's like the biggest facade. Like you cannot be trying so hard to not look suspicious. Seriously. But anyway, so who do they sign? They got a running back named Donald Brown, who I don't care for, but I no doubt when the minute he gets on the field, he's going to turn into Dion Lewis and light it up. That's what I'm hoping for, but I don't know. I don't know how these Patriots will work, but I do know of the other two. Chris Long, for the on the defensive side, to replace Chandler Jones, got a 1-year, $2 million contract. He was actually going to go to Dallas for like 3 years or so, but he chose New England because they wants a shot at a ring. I don't blame him.
Right. Yes. I mean, that is everyone's idea of going to New England, and who wouldn't want to play for Bill Belichick or Tom Brady?
Yeah, speaking of someone who's going to play for Tom Brady, you have a tight end to go with Gronkowski, Martellus Bennett.
Ugh.
What, you don't like this?
Oh, that is so dirty of a freaking tight end duo right there.
You know what's stupid, though? The Bears were trying for 18 months to get him traded away from them.
And they're crazy.
They are. Well, what's their biggest mistake? Keeping Jay Cutler? But to be fair, they don't have a choice.
I mean, now they don't have Martellus Bennett, and they don't have Brandon Marshall.
And they don't have Matt Forte.
And they don't have Matt Forte. They have literally Jay Cutler and nothing else.
They just have Alshon Jeffrey.
But continue with New England.
That's it. That's the only big ones I think they re-signed. But they waited till this week, the week we're recording, to do this. They wait like, okay, let these other teams have their time. Our time will be soon when we'll get all the players that turn out to be the biggest surprises when the season starts. Like, remember last year when they got Dion Lewis? Like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, he played with Cleveland, not that good. But then New England made him into a star player. If he played the whole season, I guarantee you, they probably would have beaten. They probably would have won a couple of games if they lost and be a first round They would have the first seed.
I mean, had he played, they probably beat Denver in the AFC Championship game.
Oh yeah, I would have loved that. But oh well. Anyway, so. Issues for them, I don't even know what they need. I can't even tell you. I said it last year, I'll say it again. I can't tell you what the Patriots want. They go with whatever.
Here's their philosophy. We take the best player available. The best player available is a good philosophy, and to be fair, they should look into offensive line depth.
Yep.
Because obviously they got really hammered with injuries last year.
They could use a linebacker.
You don't know how. Yeah, they could use some linebacker depth. Again, that was another source of a lot of injuries.
Oh yeah.
And
because
just a little bit more wide receiver depth. You can never have enough wide receivers to have Tom Brady throw the football.
Yeah, because they need great linebackers who aren't Dante Hightower. Dante Hightower, I think, is going to get paid. He's going to get paid.
Yeah.
Because he's so perfect for their system. When he's gone, that defense loses like half of its value, I think, because he's such a good leader for them. Yeah, he's the commander to their army, basically. You take him out, that army's going to be scattered and not know what to do. Green Bay's trending right now, and that upsets me. On Twitter, it's like, no. Unless a player from them that's good, like Jordy Nelson, I don't want to hear.
And that won't happen.
Yeah, because he gets them like half their flags. They got like, guys, I tripped and fell, but it was because of this player who was 5 yards away from me. Throw a flag. Like, okay.
my ankle because of him, and then gets up and walks away.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, New England, I can never figure them out. But let's talk about this last team, who I've been for a little while now jumping on the hype train because I think this team is gonna fitting that it's in the Bay Area because not only have another team in the NBA side that's gonna take everything. Tomorrow is the big one, Golden State going to to the Spurs. If the Spurs can't beat them, no one will. But I'm thinking the Spurs are gonna take them out. I'm hoping so. Please, Spurs, be focused. Make Steph Curry look like a normal player. Fun fact that he's never scored more than 14 points over there.
Huh.
It's the hardest road game for him, and I'm hoping that stays the same. But anyway,
Right.
so back to this. So since I said Bay Area, which team am I talking about, Bill? What team?
That is
What?
the Oakland Raiders.
Yes. Who did they lose? 2 players to retirement. Justin Tuck, who I believe is also considered a bit of a Hall of Fame candidate because he played with the with the teams that beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, the Giants.
Yep.
That's the and Charles Woodson, who we've already inducted to the Football Talks Hall of Fame.
Yep.
But who did they sign? Okay, let's get the minor ones. Well, they're not really minor because this is going to build up my case of why they are one of the best teams right now.
Right.
Or going to be, hopefully. So far on paper, they show that. Donald Penn, great left tackle. They re-signed him. Kaliki Osamil, I think that's how you say his name. Sorry if I butchered it. He is a guard. They got him from the Ravens, but I mean, I don't blame him because the Ravens are really in a rebuild phase. Then this is one of those things that this is where you hurt your enemy at the same time as helping your cause. To quote one of my favorite characters from a Star Wars game, what greater weapon is there to turn an enemy to your cause? To use their own knowledge against them. Sean Smith, cornerback from the Kansas City Chiefs, now going to the arch nemesis Oakland. It's just like when DeMarco Murray went to Philadelphia. It hurt Dallas more than it hurt than it helped Philly, which Philly didn't get help, but that's because they didn't know how to use him. Because Chip Kelly's an idiot, in my opinion. I don't think he's that good, but it does even that doesn't compare to who they got from Belita to Boom, Bruce Irvin, who they don't care. The Seahawks, they didn't care for him that much. They're like, let's keep our core together. What about Bruce Irvin? Don't think about it.
I mean, Bruce Irvin is way too important.
Yeah, he's the guy that's better running at the quarterback, and I think that's what he's going to do. The Oakland system revolves more about that with their linebackers, so he might be a bit better. I hope he will be. And then you have Khalil Mack on one side to help him out. So you can have 2 monsters coming at you.
Yeah, the Oakland Raiders are building a stacked defense.
Remember before, no one wanted to play in Oakland, but you know why? They've succeeded. Same with the Jaguars, in a way. They've hit it good with their drafts. I won't say Jacksonville because Dante Fowler, not only now did he miss a whole year because of an injury, but now he's at risk of being suspended because he hit a woman, I think. He got in some type of trouble, I believe. So it's like, I can't say they won last year's draft. And here's the sucky thing. Out of all the players, they should not be losing their defensive side. That's why I don't think the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs. Oh, sure, you got Malik Jackson, but... Okay, so, I like who they got. Some people are saying that they might have the best offensive lineman on the AFC. I'm hoping that's the case, because you protect Derek Carr, it'll help Latavius Murray, I think that's his name.
Yep, Latavius Murray, and then you give time for Amari Cooper to run his routes, and they are a scary team. They are a team on the rise. The Raiders are on the rise.
Do you want me to tell you their star players? Look, defense, we just mentioned them. Now you got Bruce Irvin, and you have Khalil Mack. Their defense is not complete, though. I still say they need safety help. They need a cornerback to replace the big hole that Charles Woodson left. I mean, Justin Tuck just got replaced by Bruce Irvin, so it's fine. But on offense, I love how their offense is shaping up. You got 3 Pro Bowl linemen on there now. That's great. But you also have Amari Cooper, who I say will break out at some point. I don't know about this year, but for sure next year. Latavius Murray. He could use someone to help him, though. Derek Carr, who I think is going to be one of the best quarterbacks on the AFC the minute Tom Brady goes out the door. Someone's got to replace him. I'm not saying he's going to be like him, but he's going to be a good quarterback. And then you have Crabtree, veteran wide receiver, has experience, and is clearly proving to be one of the best players on their offense.
Right.
So I like how they're built, and I'm going to say this now. I think they'll win their division, but even if they don't, they're still a playoff team. They're a playoff team for me. I think they'll go all the way to the divisional round and lose to, I don't know, New England or whoever, but I like how they're building. They're going to... I don't want to outright declare them like a Super Bowl type of team. They're nowhere near that. Their defense ain't complete. But
Right.
when it does, because players are signing there because they like what they're doing, they've succeeded in the draft. Derek Carr is showing potential. He's becoming better. But I hope that this team turns it around, because Oakland's not had a successful real run for a while, haven't they?
They have not been really successful in a very long time.
I already said their issues. They need help in corner. They need help in safety. It's all defense, if you ask me. They could use a tight end, but that'll probably be like a fourth, fifth round thing you put and build him up to be better. So yeah, before we go to winners and losers, I'm going to play a video for you guys. I can't show the visuals for the sake of not getting hit. I don't want to risk getting hit by a copyright. And I'm going to play this because I really hate this rant. This guy, he's from the NFL Network, so to get some context, and they're talking about Johnny Manziel's future, and basically saying why it's a bad idea for him to go to Dallas. Hopefully this is the last time we talk Manziel, but anyway, I will play this. Bill and I will be quiet so you could hear it.
This guy just rubs me the wrong way. Football first. When he came out, I said he couldn't play in this league. A lot of people said he could. Has he done a few okay things? Yeah, they've been okay. This guy can't play in the league, and he's not worth the hassle and the detriment to your locker room. I wish Roger Goodell would pass out a league-wide memo saying we're going to blackball this young man for the betterment of our league, for the betterment of the future of our league, for every young man that gets to watch our great game and the great NFL Shield, and say we're not tolerating this type of selfish, childish, mindless behavior. I'm okay with first, second, third strike opportunities. Grace and mercy, you won't find anyone more forgiving. But time and time again, this kid spits in the face of our league. There's too many guys, Solly, myself, Willie McGinnis, Eric Davis, all go through a whole list of our guys at this network that have come before him, done things the right way, and he just refuses to respect our game, our shield, and our league.
It's a privilege, not a right.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Get him out of here. He's not worth it. We're not talking about Drew Brees. We're not talking about Tom Brady.
Right.
This guy's not Tony Romo, JJ. Do not waste your time with him. The Kraken didn't work out. Gregory's already been an issue. Dallas doesn't need more destruction in the locker room. They need a team philosophy like they had 2 years ago that made them successful.
All right, so Bill and I have already watched that video. We watched it before. So, Bill, would you like to start with your opinion on this and why this guy's, in my opinion, full of shit and he's a hypocrite?
And here's the issue with that is literally by his same logic, he would be taking Joe Namath out of the NFL.
And he was a party guy. He was as party guy as they get in those days.
You would be getting rid of Des Bryant. You would be getting rid of Ricky Williams. You would be getting rid of, I mean, there's Chris Carter.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
Randy Mouse.
I mean,
the Donican Sue. Bill, we could go at this all day.
There's so many players that by his logic would be blackballed, quote unquote, out of the league. I mean, and yet you still have people in the league. Now, why did he not say to blackball a certain other guy out of the league? And why? And that is Greg Hardy.
Actually, there's another one. Gronkowski. And that dude's as party as they get. He has fun, and you don't want to cut him out because he's the best tight end the NFL has ever seen so far.
Exactly.
But actually, they probably would find an excuse because they are with that whole like it's illegal to gamble. But they just don't like the Patriots.
It's 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 a flawed argument.
Very flawed. What else you got on this, Bill? I wanna hear what else you got with this. If
To be to be fair, really, that's it. I mean, you can't blackball people out of the league if you're going to allow the same exact behavior to be perfectly fine in the league. I mean, literally, back in the history of the NFL, Ricky Williams was literally photographed in magazines smoking his joints in freaking magazines. I mean, he got suspended, but still, he was photographed. I mean, it's just flat out black and white evidence right in front of you.
yeah, so all right, for me, I have many things wrong with this, and I'll be fair. Let me get this disclaimer out of the way. I am not defending Johnny Manziel from his actions, not one bit. Yes, he needs to get his act together, and I get that. Let him get his act together before he even thinks about trying to go with a team. That I agree with. But the way this guy was going about saying this, we can't let this stain upon the NFL shield be a thing. No, don't be a fucking hypocrite. You're talking about for the sake of purity and dignity for the honor of the game. Bullshit. This guy is frickin' Roger Goodell's lapdog. Spouts the same bullshit as him. This same guy probably would say Brady should be suspended. No, because you're trying to get Brady suspended for actions two players not affiliated with him wanted to do for their own humor. They got fired, and rightfully so. That's all. You didn't need to punish the Patriot organization as much as you did with finding them $1 million, taking away this season's first round pick and next year's second round pick. They didn't need to do that. I mean, teams that have legitimately gotten in trouble, like the Kansas City Chiefs, who tampered with Travis Kelce's contract, they paid. But where was the media for that? Where was it? Oh, the Chiefs are being in quite a scandal. Nobody says a damn peep about them. But the Patriots, oh, guys, Tom Brady's a cheater again. We have Deflategate. We don't have the proof, but we're certain he did it, and that was enough to convince a judge, and it's convincing another judge that Brady's a damn cheater. So, why would you're going to scrutinize Johnny Manziel and Tom Brady for these things, but there's actual controversies as always happen, and I mentioned last year when the Falcons had that artificial crowd noise, where's the media for that? Where's the talk about that? Oh, wait, because these aren't either players who have such a reputation, like everyone any sports fan knows who they are, or they're such a team that wins a lot, you don't want them to win anymore, because they don't want the Patriots to win anymore. They want another team like the Cowboys or the Packers, teams who have a huge legion of fans to follow them, and they don't say anything about them. In fact, they'll do whatever they can to help them win. You know how many times I got suspicious of that? Remember when the Lions lost to the Packers? I honestly thought those refs wanted the Cowboys to win. Call me being a salty Lions fan. Remember, I'm a Cowboys fan first, and even I thought that was full of shit. Sorry, Bill, to bring that up, but I'm trying to prove a point here. Sometimes I think the NFL is trying... I'm not saying they rig all their games, no, but there are moments where I think if they have a chance to help a team, have better success or gain more attention for them and make them more money, they'll jump on it. They'll jump on it, and they don't care how dirty it is.
Exactly.
Anyway, so, with that said... I will be right back for a moment, and then we'll talk winners and losers, and we'll be done.
Okay. Yep.
Alright, so I'm back. We're both back. So yeah, that guy was full of shit. I could go more and pick his argument, but I would have rather written a script for that, and that's not worth our time. I think my point was made clear. The NFL is full of shit, and the NFL Network guys, I like some of them. Don't get me wrong, they're fun. Some of them are fun people like Elliot Harrison, but this guy, I don't even know his name, but I've heard him before, and I think he's an idiot. Kiss ass. But anyway, so with that in mind, let's talk winners and losers of the free agency. So, Bill, who's your biggest winner?
My biggest winner, and we already talked about a lot of the reasons why, is the Houston Texans. I'm not on the bandwagon, but I think they've had a really good offseason. Osweiler is obviously a large upgrade over Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, we can all agree on that.
Lamar Miller, Lamar Miller doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires, so
Yeah, because the
he will be
Dolphins horribly
utilized.
they underutilized them.
Yeah, and he's young.
Yeah,
That's the other thing. I mean, he's got 8 good years of catching passes out of the backfield for the Houston Texans. Uh, Obviously, all the significant upgrades, and they're building upon that defense still. I mean, it's all there. It's all there. So I give them my only winner status. They were the big
I have
winners.
two other teams. Of course, New England, but I just think New England knows what they're doing. I expect them to do well. They're already building for another run, and this time, out of all the AFC teams, the only ones I think can do it. And if you want me to throw a Final Four out right now, at least for the AFC, I can tell you who the two sides will be for the title game. The Patriots,
Okay.
obviously one of them, but the other team, I can't tell you if it's between the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are all I got
Right.
because one of these teams who you think could be a deep playoff threat as they were portrayed is not going to do it. And the Denver Broncos, I don't see them making it in the playoffs, which fine by me because that fan base needs to shut up for a season after or one postseason. But anyway, New England, Martellus Bennett, Chris Brown, or Chris Long, Chris Brown. I mixed him up with Donald Brown. Um, so you got some nice signings. You traded Chandler Jones for Jonathan Cooper, a lineman which they need help in, and you got a second round pick to make up for your lost first round because the NFL and Roger Goodell, fuck off. I hate you both. I only like I only like the players and the team, to be honest, more than the people who own them, above the owners, I should say. Anyway,
Right.
New England, I just trust and I know what they're. I think they know what they're doing. But my biggest winner, I put them above Houston because, unlike Houston, where Brock Osweiler has a question mark, we both agree on that. I like what they got considering what they lost. You lost Justin Tuck and Charles Woodson to retirement. You can't help it. Bright side, not like they're going anywhere else. But you got what looks like to be a all-star cast of a lineman that and I like that. That they're not going to be Dallas Cowboy good, but I still think they're probably going to be top 5 linemen for sure, or top 5 offensive line for sure. Sean Smith, who you took from the Chiefs, who I think they're going to regret it, and Bruce Irvin. Great. I think that's
Yep.
great. And there are other players, but those are the more iconic ones. So they're building, and considering where they were 2 years ago, I like this progression. They can only get better, I think, and I expect them to be a playoff team. Probably get in at 10-6 or 9-7, depending on how bad these records are. But those are my 3 winners: Houston, Oakland, and New England. Now, biggest loser, Bill. Would you like to go first in this one, or would you like me? Because I want to
Uh,
throw out one that should not that's most people are ignoring.
okay.
I'm gonna
Go
throw out
ahead.
one who just makes this list because of, and it's not their fault because at the end of the day it's the Eagles' fault. So I put the Jets on my losers because of the Sam Bradford contract. Every quarterback thinks they deserve to be paid more, and Fitzpatrick is not going to the Jets. I don't know why. It's his best chance of success, but oh well. You're wasting a chance with Brandon Marshall, Matt Forte, who's the other, Eric Decker. I don't know why you wouldn't want to go there when you've clearly proven you can be good with that talent, right?
Right.
So I don't know why, but it's again I blame Sam Bradford. Fuck the Eagles. But anyway, so they're one of my losers, not my biggest loser. We all know who that is. Who is the biggest
Oh
loser,
man.
Bill?
And that is also my biggest loser, and that's the Denver Broncos.
You kept Von Miller. That's good, but at what cost, Bill? Who did they lose?
they lost Peyton Manning, Brock Osweiler. They lost Malik Jackson. They lost. I mean, the list goes on and on of stuff
They
that
cut
they
Owen
lost.
Daniels, who I thought was a great tight end. I think you put him in a good
Yep.
offense, and he'll be one of your best tight ends. But alas, I don't know. I don't get John Elway this year. I think he's having an off year, but I bet Peyton Manning has the last laugh, especially if they do bad this season. It's like, ha. So what was that about you guys saying you don't want me anymore?
Oh, the Denver fans booing him. They'll have a lot to boo this year.
Yeah, well, I have a lot to laugh and smile about this year. Though, here's the thing: people are speculating Denver's gonna for their. You know how the Super Bowl team always hosts the Thursday night game before the season kicks off.
Yep.
Some people are thinking they're gonna play either Houston first because they host them, and it makes sense considering Brock Osweiler coming back against his old team. I wouldn't mind it because that team will clearly not know what to do at the beginning, and I'd rather go because look where Houston has to go. They got to go to New England, you got to go to Green Bay, and you got to go to Denver. I'd like those away games all at the beginning because bam, 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 you get the worst games out of your system, and it's not cold. Right? Wouldn't that be better? Bill,
Right.
you say, I want to play the Packers in September or October. And you did, and you beat
Exactly.
them.
Exactly.
Game of the year. But anyway,
Exactly.
Bill, you still there? You're quiet.
Yep. Yep. I'm
Bill?
here. Yeah.
Oh, no, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. Just a second. Okay, sorry about that, Bill. Could you say what you were saying? Because I couldn't hear it.
I lost my train
No,
of
and
thought.
I said I would rather we play, that Houston plays all those
Oh,
games
yeah, yeah.
right at the beginning.
Uh, yeah. You don't. If you're playing a bunch of cold weather cities, you want to get them pretty early before the weather starts turning harsh. Especially with what Houston wants to do. You don't want to go into Denver where it's not. You're a mile up in the atmosphere for one, and then it's cold for two. That's just something you don't want to
Oh,
deal
yeah.
with.
And, I mean, Minnesota, they got to go to Minnesota, but you know what they have opening this year, right?
Yeah, the new
Yeah,
stadium.
which is a dome. I mean, it
Yep.
looks nice, but come on, Minnesota, you had an advantage when it was cold. I guess it didn't matter
I
against
mean,
the
oh,
against the Seahawks.
I mean, where they're playing, it gets crazy
Yeah, we
cold.
saw in the
You
playoffs,
know,
but I wish they kept an open stadium because that could serve against if you play a team who's frequently warm, like well, let's say in this case the L.A. Rams. Never gets cold there.
most northern cities that are north of really the Iowa Wisconsin line, which is also 8 Mile Road in Detroit. Uh, Basically, anything north of that line should have a dome. I mean, it's pretty brutal
Yeah.
around
So
here typically.
other loser, another loser I have, Cincinnati. And you might be wondering, why am I putting Cincinnati? Who did they lose? Mohamed Sanu. They lost. Well, who is it to the Lions? Say his name again.
Marvin
Marvin
Jones.
Jones. And then you lost Hugh Jackson, who's thinking I can go to Cleveland and turn it around. No, I don't think so. I don't think so now because all those players clearly don't want to play for you. Nothing against him, no doubt, but I think it's just because Cleveland doesn't really care for their own players. I really want them to move the Cleveland Browns somewhere else because Cleveland, not that they don't deserve a team, I don't know who they offended. They have a curse or something. I don't know who they pissed off, but clearly it's them. The guy, he, she, it, whatever they pissed off hasn't forgiven them. So I don't know. But Cincinnati, you had a great offense. Not only you lose players, but you lose your offensive coordinator who is part of that. Because
Right.
Andy Dalton has had like 4 different people in like the past 6 years. So
Yep.
they did not they did not try to keep their crucial pieces together. At least he should have kept Hugh Jackson. But that's why I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. But we always say they won't make it, but they do. So I can't say I'm not saying anything this time. Yeah. So Bill, speaking of Cleveland, our final loser, who could arguably be above Denver.
Yep, is Cleveland. And they're not a loser because they lost anyone. They're a loser for the simple fact that no one's going to sign and play there. And that makes you the top of the list because no one wants to come there, and that's sad for the fans of Cleveland, you know, who deserve a good team after all the heartache that they've been through in the last 20 years. They deserve a good team, and it's just not going to happen this year. I mean, their coach was a joke. I mean, it was a travesty. They need a new round of thinking and
They've
leadership
lost.
in there.
They lost. Look what they lost, though. They lost all their talented linemen. They lost Travis Benjamin to the Chargers, I think. Then they lost. I don't think they. I think they kept Gary Barnage. I think that's his name, the tight end. You know, the one who caught it with his legs.
Yep.
I think they
Yep.
kept him. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he left.
And here's and just here's why I think they're going to be the biggest, loser of the offseason is that this is on paper right now, off of all their offseason moves, they are an 0-16 team. I know an 0-16 team when I see one because I've actually seen one.
Oh God. But okay, so this thing I want to point this out. This is my bold prediction for the Browns. They might go 0-16. They might win one game, I think. I can't see them winning any more than two. But they might tie the worst record with the Detroit Lions. Remember when they went 0-16? I think this team will as well. What do you think, Bill?
I think they're going to get blown out in every game that they play and have the NFL record for worst scoring margin.
Oh boy.
That is a brutal prediction.
Yeah.
And
I don't hold anything against the fan base. They deserve better. Remember, when Johnny Manziel was drafted, I don't know if you saw the videos, but there were videos out there of people crying, embracing each other, feeling like there's hope ignited at last in Cleveland. But I mean, the best I could tell Cleveland sportsgoers, like, at least you have the Cavaliers. You have LeBron, who pretty much is not only the team leader, he's also the head coach, he's also the manager, he's also the GM, he's also the owner. Because if things don't go so, get rid of this player. Like, okay, get me something. Okay, get me this guy. Okay, they do whatever he wants. So, congrats, you have for the first time a basketball player who's not only currently active and playing, but he's also the coach, GM, and owner.
Well, he's not.
No, but you get that joke because he pretty much runs the team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like this good coach on my team, so can you fire him? Okay, Cleveland Cavaliers fire their player. But anyway, that's straying from the point. So I'm not sure if that's comfort. I mean, I'm not complaining sports wise. I mean, I love my San Antonio Spurs. I'm hoping they beat the Warriors and say, hey, it's not your year. This one's for Duncan. You can win all you want after, but I want the Spurs to win one more. Win one for Timmy. But anyway, that'll do it. That'll do it for this week. We will see you guys in a couple weeks for the pre-draft. We will talk who we think what each team's gonna get. There'll probably be some mock drafts more done by then, so I'll probably be able to give a specific player or two. But we'll also induct. I always mix those words up. Induct Peyton Manning into the Hall of Fame. That's going to be fun. So, yeah. Anything else to say about this, Bill?
Nope.
It's kind of crazy. Football ain't for like another 4 to 6 months.
Right.
So, yeah. I wish it started already. I want to know if Brock Osweiler is a success or a bust. Anyway, so that'll do it. We will see you guys next week. Or 2 weeks or so.